Welcome to this series where you're going to learn how to build, deploy, and sell AI apps using ChatGPT. And inside of this part 3 video, we're going to start our code bug fixing app, which we're going to be building with Python, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So just as a quick recap, in the last 2 videos we looked at how we could first generate an API key, and then after that, in our second video, we learned how we can actually take that API key and create a ChatGPT clone. So now with that information, we're going to be creating a code bug fixer app. And just for today, we're only going to be doing the backend side, so which means the Python side of the code. And in our other future videos, we're going to finish up the HTML and CSS. And then after that, we're going to be deploying our app onto the cloud and then also adding a payment option to our program. So now that we have an idea of what we're going to be doing today, let's look at the actual app that we're going to be creating in the next few videos in this series. So this is going to be how the app is going to look like. So as we can see, we have code bug fixer as our name, and then we have a button here that says code fix. And inside here we have 4 different boxes where we're gonna actually get our code fixed. So essentially what this website is supposed to do is help. So for example, if you had a problem in your code, then what you would do is that you're gonna enter all the code that you have and put it in this box here, and then you're gonna enter the error that's getting received from, and essentially when you press this code fix button, then all the fixed code should be here, and it also should give you an explanation back. So this is what our code bug fixer app is meant to do, and let's just give it a quick test to see how it works. Python print function. So the error, we already know what this is. We are missing the T here in the print function, but let's just see if our code bug fixer app can recognize that. And also this is the error that we get after running this and anything. So let's just press code fix, and you can give it a second. And you can see that it did fix our code, so it gave us the T back, and then also gave us an error message. And also note that this code bug fixer app can work with really complex codes as well. So you can enter a bunch of code here and enter the error here, and you're still going to get a correct response back, because this is actually ChatGPT that's giving our answer back, because we're going to be using their API key. So anyways, this is what we're going to be creating today, and let's get into the code. So here I'm going to be using PyCharm to do all our coding today. This is going to be the code editor, and basically all the code I've already written, and all you can do is just copy it down line by line. You can copy it down as I go along in the video, or also you can find the source code. If you don't feel like writing every single line by line, then you can go over to the description or also the pinned comment, where I'm going to link the source code link so that you can get all this code without needing to write it down line by line. And also, as I said in the beginning of this video, we're only going to be looking at the backend side, which means I'm just going to be explaining the Python part today, so it won't be such a long video. And let's just get started right away here. So let's start off with the top. So we're importing Flask, which is going to actually help to create our web application. And then we have also request here. Request is going to help for handling request. And also we have render templates, and render templates is going to help with actually rendering our HTML pages, but the HTML pages, we're going to be looking at that later on in the next video. And after that, we're going to be importing OpenAI, and we're using OpenAI's Python library so that we can actually interact with OpenAI's API key. And next, we're going to be creating a Flask web instance. And after that, this is where we're going to actually be setting our API key, which is actually from OpenAI's API. And if you don't know how to get this, then I suggest you to watch part 1 of this series, where I showed how you can actually get your own API key. But once you do have your API key, just paste it inside of these quotation marks here, and then you should be ready to go. Once that's done, we're going to be defining the root for the main page of our app, and this is going to be accepting both get and post methods. So here we're just doing an app.root, and we're getting both of the get and post methods. And then this is going to be the actual page, which is defining index. And then here we're going to be checking if the request method is post, and if it is, and if the request method is post, then we're going to be retrieving the code and error fields from the submitted form. And here we're going to be constructing the actual prompt for the OpenAI API, and you can see that the prompt says explain the error in this code without actually fixing it, and that's actually the prompt that we're going to be putting inside of ChatGPT. And after that, we're going to be defining the engine that we're going to be using with OpenAI API, and in this case we're going to be using text.davinci-003. And after that, we're going to be making a request to the OpenAI API to actually explain the error inside of the code. So here we can see that this is some of the settings that we have for the OpenAI API. For example, we have engine, which is the model engine, and then we have prompt, which is equal to prompt, and max tokens is equal to 1024. That basically means that how long the characters will be. So your response will not be longer than 1024 characters. And then we have number is equal to 1 or n is equal to 1. And this line of code here just means how many responses you're going to get back. And after that we have stop, which is none, so it's not going to just randomly stop. And then after that we have temperature is equal to 0.9, and this ranges anywhere up to 1, and the higher it is, then the random your responses will be. So that's what the temperature means. And after that we're going to be extracting the response from OpenAI's API key, and we're going to be storing that in this variable called explanation. And furthermore, after that we construct the prompt for the OpenAI to fix the actual code. So this is a fixed code prompt, which is going to be stored inside of this variable. Once that's done, we're going to be making a request to the OpenAI API to actually fix the code. So we're copying over the same exact explanation that we had, except this time it's going to be called from here our fixed code prompt variable. And once we get the actual request, then we're going to be extracting the response from OpenAI, and we're going to store that in this fixed code variable. And once that's done, then that should be everything there for actually getting our response and sending our response. And then we're going to be rendering all of this information into the index.html template with the explanation and also the fixed code. And also, in case if there is a GET request, then simply we just render the index.html template. And then down here, this is just some additional code that I've added. So just in case if we do get some errors. So basically here, this is the 500 internal server error. So this will fix that. And down here, we're going to be checking if this script is run directly and not imported. And once we check if that's true, then we're going to be running the actual Flask app, which is app.run. Basically summarizes all of our Python code, so the backend for our actual application to work. So technically, if we also had our index.html page set up, then if we were to run this code, we would get the exact same website as we saw earlier, which is this one, where we can first enter our code. Once we press this code fix, then it's going to send this information to OpenAI, and after that the OpenAI is going to respond and also give our fixed code. So that summarizes everything for this video, which we created our backend Python part, and in our next video we're going to be creating the HTML and CSS and also JavaScript to actually make this app running. So thank you so much for watching this part 3 video, and we'll see you guys in our next part 4 video.